They're very food motivated.
Yes. All right, so it is 6 o'clock, so we're going to kick off. I've got it on mute, so anyone who joins can join in and just join the conversation where it's at. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and at the end, then we'll open it up and I'll ask some of those questions. So we have changed the format of the Makers Meetup. Um, when we closed the shop, I took some time to reflect on the things that were most special to me about having the shop open. And one of them was the ability for the makers from trunk shows and pop-ups to sit down and join the table at our maker meetups. So I took some time to see how we could integrate it and came up with the Meet the Maker edition of the Maker Meetups. And so for the first hour, we're going to meet a maker each month, get to know about them, their craft, their hobbies, and who they really are as a person. And then we'll roll into our regular meetup. And there's prizes. So we'll do a giveaway midway through. I'll announce the criteria to be a winner right before we do our contest. So with that, I'd love to introduce everyone to Ginger of Ginger Snapped Crafts.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for being my first guest. Um,
Thank you for having me.
absolutely. So, Ginger, I'm going to let you share with the world what you do.
I play with a lot of glue.
Love it. Yes.
um, I make decoupage tins for storing all of your fun knickknacks. It started out because I needed a tin to store my stitch markers from the yarn crawl. Because every year I go on the yarn crawl and I always buy the stitch markers at every store. And then I ended up with this big container of stitch markers. So I was like, well, I need to break them up. And so I decided, oh, hey, years and years and years and years ago, when I went down to Oregon Pocket Fiber, there was a vendor who sold stitch markers, but she also had tins that were decoupage. They were the small little slider tins. And I was like, well, I could do something like that, or, I'll see what's out there. There was nothing out there. That maker is no longer doing it. And I was like, well, I could do it myself. So of course, you can't just buy one of something. You have to buy bulk because it's cheaper that way. And then you have to buy the punches. And then, oh, I have scrapbook paper. That would be fun. And the next thing I know, I'm like, hey, Jessica, can I sell these at your shop? And I always joke that I just kind of fell into this business, and it's not really a joke. It's kind of true. If somebody had told me a year ago that I would be doing this and doing shows and having so much fun doing it, I would have said they were lying. They needed to get off drugs, and because I don't need to do that. I have too much going on in my life. Um, and here we are, 10 months later, 9 months later, yeah. And I have shows lined up for almost every month this year. I wasn't going to do any shows. I was just going to do a little, wholesale. That's all. And I'm
Love it.
having a lot of fun.
That's spectacular. So you showed us one. Show us the different size tins and tell us more about your product.
So let's start with the big one. Well, the small lunchbox, which is perfect for, a sock knitting project. Yay!
Love it.
Hats, like a scarf, but they're just a little lunchbox, carry around,
Absolutely.
And then I have what I call the large rectangle, which these are some of my new designs that will be at Pearlside this weekend. So this is about twice the size of like an Altoid tin, and they are decoupaged on the inside also, because you can't have it just be pretty on the outside. It has to be pretty on the inside too.
Love it.
And I also have dividers that will fit inside. This is for an Altoid tin. I do make them the larger ones. And then I have this size, which is the same size as like an Altoid tin.
Mhm.
Some of my cute new designs. I like this little guy. You know,
Oh, he's
he's
great.
Kraken. He's a Kraken, and he's the king of the Krakens. And you can't really tell on here, but around each of his suckers is like gold. Like he has gold rings
Oh, that's
on
outstanding.
every single one of them. And I've had these forever, but I haven't been making them because I just kind of forget about them. But these are the little rectangle tins, which I love because they fit inside the large tin, like this one. They just fit right inside if you want to have different notions, but you want to keep your stitch markers organized. But they kind of got lost, and so I had a lot of fun the last couple of weeks making a bunch of them. And I
Absolutely.
have a bunch of new little nature designs. So I have little bugs, and I've got bees and a little beetle, little orca, little these ones. But they're perfect for like a set of stitch markers to throw into your bag.
I love it. I love it.
And of course, the pencil tin slash crochet hook tin slash double point needle tin. And now we've discovered it's also a floss tin because it
Ooh.
holds the DMC floss on the bows that DMC makes. They fit in here perfectly.
Oh, that's
So
outstanding.
yeah. So Rosanna Diggs Embroidery, she has these in her booth. She had them at Red Alder, and she was very excited when I said, "Hey, did you know these fit?" And she's like, "Okay, I have to have some of those." So
Yes.
I was very privileged, though, even though I was not vending at Red Alder, I had a few tins at Red Alder. It was super, super fun. Yeah. And then, of course, for St. Distaff's Day, for my spinning friends, I did these because, of course,
Yes, of course.
of course. Um, and oh, these are some more than Northwest kind of nature designs with the orca,
Yeah.
the dragonfly. So, and of course, if you know me, you know I love bees
Yes.
and little mushrooms. So,
Those are
yeah,
great.
having a lot of fun with these. And I end up going down rabbit holes and go, oh, I want to make this. I want to make that. Ooh, I want to make all of these. And then I go, take a deep breath, plan it out. So I think I'm planned out to like third quarter of 2027. I don't know.
So where do you get your inspiration from when you go to pick designs?
um, well, when I did St. Distaff's Day, of course, I was looking for spinning inspired things. And I had some ideas. I am not an artist. I do not create my own art, but I can curate the heck out of a collection. I spend a lot of time on Etsy with the designers, and probably 75% of the art that I get from them directly is AI art, and I know that going into it. Um, a lot of the makers that I buy from on there, it's AI and they do some editing to it. They all have commercial use, or I've gotten permission directly from the designer. I don't do anything that's trademarked. I've been asked, oh, are you going to do Star Wars? Are you going to do? I'm like, no, I might do some things that are adjacent,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to step over that line on copyright and trademark without permission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite design so far? Do you have a favorite?
I love this guy right now. Right now, I love him so much. And I have him like in the big size too. And I'm like, I love him very much.
Oh,
Just, I don't know why. And, you know, next week it'll probably be something different. Um, and another thing is, as far as like going down the rabbit hole or getting where to get designs, is uh, Rosanna came to me. She says, "Hey, I would love to have some tins. Could you do some stuff that would work with my what I do?" And I went and looked at her website, and I went, "Yes." And that I did some designs for her, and it kind of took off. And that was all of the more outdoorsy Northwest stuff that I did. That was all because she kind of put me into that focus. and I hyper focused the hyper focus of the spicy brain and found so many things.
Absolutely. I love it. So you shared this was inspired because you needed a place for your stitch markers. So I'm also a knitter and I have a million uses for mine. I have some of my favorites here. I am a huge fan of these guys. She has Halloween ones, Christmas ones. I'm hoping there'll be some Easter ones because I will buy them. I love them. Um, but I use them for stitch markers. I have tape measures in mine, um, needles, all kinds of things. So if someone wasn't a fiber artist, what else could they use them for?
I have one in my purse that has charging cords. It has a USB, a small USB-C, charging cord. It has the charger for my watch. It has, if my headphones die, it has a connect USB-C to headphones. So I just have that in my purse. And that's mainly to keep my cat from chewing on them because he likes to chew on cords. I love him very much.
I love it.
But I've had to buy so many chargers for my I have one that just has stickers in it.
Okay.
Um, it's a size I didn't show you here. It's a little more of a square size, but it fits stickers perfectly. And when I run out of space on my water bottle, I still buy stickers and they go into there until I have a place for them. So that's just my sticker tin.
I love it. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your process.
Ooh, something will catch my fancy for whatever reason. And at the beginning, I was using a lot of scrapbook papers, and I still enjoy using the scrapbook papers. Um, and I use them mainly on the insides now, some for the outsides. But I would purchase like a set of papers and just go through and cut out by hand, around designs and fussy cut and everything. Um, and then I would just sit down in front of the TV watching Buffy or whatever with the glue and the paper cutter and the punches and just there's glue, lots of glue, put everything up to dry, more glue, more drying. Now there's more time spent on Etsy or other of those type of sites. I have everything professionally printed on a laser printer. So, Office Depot or one of the professional type, as opposed to inkjet, because if I use inkjet, it will blur, it will run, it will not be pretty. I Because I was spending so much time cutting with one of the little paper cutters, I was starting to get some major pain in my thumbs. I now have a silhouette and I am figuring out how to use it. It has changed my life so that it cuts it for me. And I spend more time actually putting things together instead of just cutting things out,
Absolutely.
which is amazing. It's an amazing time saver.
Love it.
And I always laugh because every so often you'll get somebody who's like, well, I could make this. It's like, yes, you can. Totally. Here's how you do it. I'm not doing this because I'm like, oh, I do something special and unique that somebody else can't do. I'm doing it because I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a creative outlet, just like knitting for me is a creative outlet. This is too completely. Um, and I'll tell people, yes, yes, you can. It's cheaper just to buy one for me instead of doing this, but yes, you can do it.
Love it. So you shared that you're booked out. You've got events, you've been doing events.
Mhm.
So is this what you do full time?
No, no,
No.
no. I am a CNC programmer for a countertop company. So I'm basically a glorified drafter. I say I'm a professional Tetris player. I take lots of rectangles and L shapes and I put them onto bigger rectangles and program them to be cut out in our shop. So that is my main job. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you balance both?
What is this balance you speak of?
No, right? There's no such thing.
um, I do my best. I mean, that's all I can do. There are days when I get overwhelmed and all I can do is just doom scroll. And all of a sudden I'll be like, wait, stop. You're doing this because you're overwhelmed. Why are you overwhelmed? What's going on? So I try and do something every day, but it doesn't mean, and I get behind. I mean, I'm leaving at 8:30 in the morning to go to Pearlside this weekend. Laundry's in the dryer.
At least you're gonna have clean clothes. You've got a plan. You're doing
I,
it.
I do. Yes, I have a plan.
Love it. Love it.
So no, there's no balance.
It's
I'd like to say there
overrated.
is.
It's okay.
Balance is overrated.
Oh, good. So tell me who Ginger is.
Ooh, that's a big question. That's oh, hi William.
No.
What's your usual?
Uh, Pearl side.
I gotta get in the room.
Who is Ginger? I don't know. I mean, sometimes I don't know. I'm a mom of two grown kids. Um, I'm a crafty person. I enjoy audiobooks. I love a good horror film, or sometimes a bad horror film. Um, I don't know. I'm a friend. I like being a friend to people. That
Absolutely.
makes me happy.
Absolutely. So what do you do with your spare time?
I play with glue. I knit. That's the main one. Is the knitting. Yeah. Um, all the other the other crafts have kind of gone to the side lately, which I'm okay with that. It's fine. I can only do one at a time. So yeah, knitting is probably the my decompression.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of these days I'm gonna get the spinning wheel back out because that's very zen.
Okay.
I don't know how the cats will react to it though, because I don't think I've spun since I got the little ones. Who
They're
are now
gonna
big
love it.
ones. Yeah, they'll love it all right.
You're gonna have some help.
Yes, yes, I will.
Oh goodness. So what do you knit?
Socks, mainly like 95% of what I knit is socks. I wish I could say otherwise. I have so many whips that are other things. I love making shawls, but for the most part, I knit socks. I mean, this is what I brought to knit tonight because I finished my first Beetlejuice sock
Ooh,
at
I love
knitting
it.
I finished this at Red Alder when we were all
This is a
there. And I
good
started
spot.
the next one. And I 2017, I had kind of a bad year, and that was and uh knitting kind of kept my sanity. And I think it was 23 pairs of socks I knit that year.
Wow.
So it was like a sock a week, basically.
Okay. Do you wear them?
All every day. Every day. If I am wearing socks, I am wearing my hand knit socks.
Do you have a favorite pair?
Yeah, I have a pair. It's kind of like black and white and orange, which
Mhm.
sounds like a strange combination, but it's really cute. It's from the yarn is from Trilogy, and
Oh,
yeah, this is Neelix.
oh, hello.
He's a needy boy.
He's
He
so
must be the
handsome.
center of attention. But the yarn's from Trilogy, and I got it on one of the yarn crawls, and I made a pair of socks out of it. I think those are my favorite right now. I have some other pairs that I really like, but yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you been an artist or a
artist.
crafter?
A crafter.
Yes.
All my life. All my life.
Yeah.
I got my first sewing machine when I was about 6 or 7.
Mhm.
And it was a toy sewing machine, but it came with a cartridge that had the thread in it,
Mhm.
and it did chain stitch. And I made so many Barbie clothes, all the Barbie clothes.
Yes.
My friend Annie and we made Barbie clothes. And my mom would take us down to the fabric store, and we could each pick out a fat quarter. And so we would each get to pick a fat quarter, and then we'd go home and we'd cut them out and we'd sew Barbie clothes. And when I was about 7 or 8, my neighbor tried to teach me to knit, and I was 7 or 8, and that lasted about, I think, a week and a half before I was like, no, this is fine. Let me go on.
Yep.
And I didn't pick it up again until Matthew was about 2, so he's now 22.
Okay.
So then I picked it up again. In between, I quilted. I did a lot of garment sewing.
Yeah.
I made my kids' clothes, stuff for me. And a friend of mine was like, who also did some garment sewing, and she also knit. She's like, oh, you should learn to knit. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm doing this. I have lots of fabric. I have a sewing machine. I'm good. And she's like, yeah, but you can't take that with you. I was like,
Yes.
well, you're right, but no, I'm good. And then so I started knitting, because it's portable. Kids have swimming lessons and all of that. And then I started going to knitting group, and there were some spinners in the group, and one of them was like, oh, you should spin. And I'm like, I sew, I knit, I'm good. I'm good. And they're like, oh, but you would really like this. I'm like, no, I'm good. And so then I got a spinning wheel. Um, and what's funny is I love to spin, I love to knit, but I don't knit a lot with my hand spun yarn.
How come?
When I knit, I tend to knit with more solids
Mhm.
other than socks. That's different. But like, but when I spin, I like to spin with the bright, pretty colors.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of funny that like I have all this, hand spun yarn. And of course, when you do it yourself, you look at it and you see all the flaws. But
Right.
I had this bin full of hand spun yarn. And 2 summers ago, I had pulled all of it out, all my yarn. I was sorting through, making sure it's all on Ravelry. And I was like, where did this yarn come from? This is nice. And I was like, oh, this is my hand. This is much better than I remember. So
Oh,
time gives you some distance from looking at all the flaws.
absolutely.
And you go, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. It's actually pretty nice. So yeah, it's kind of funny. So I need to pull it out, knit some hats, knit some scarves, knit some smaller projects with it.
Absolutely.
And I've also dabbled with, tatting and ribbon embroidery. And
Oh, tell me about tatting.
well, I did needle tatting, not shuttle tatting,
Okay.
um, because it seemed easier and more uniform. And you can needle tat anything from thread up through yarn if you really wanted to. I think it's the
Okay.
same. And it's fun. And it's one of those things where I go, oh, I should pick that up again. One day I will.
I love that. So for those who don't know what tatting is, how would you explain it?
Mm. Uh, Lace making that is not bobbin lace,
Mhm.
because bobbin lace is an art form that is amazing to watch. I don't have that kind of patience. But you can make some really nice things. They're generally not as fine as bobbin
Mhm.
lace, but they make really great like collar edges. And that's why I started I was like, oh, I'll make some collar edges and things like that for my sewing for my daughter and things like that.
Okay. Very nice. So any other art forms or fiber arts that you plan to dabble in?
That I plan to dabble in.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I quilt. Got to get back to that one of these days. Um, um, I've thought about doing a little bit of jewelry making, but not for jewelry,
Mm.
more for like stitch markers.
Yeah, sign me up.
Because you can do like it's the appearance of resin, but it's not resin.
Mhm.
And I could do stitch markers that basically have some of the same designs, but very small. And that would be kind of fun.
Yes.
I have looked into what I need. I
Mm.
am not going there yet.
Well, if you need anyone to like encourage you, I'm here for that. I got you
Thank you.
covered.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Oh goodness.
Appreciate it.
You know, anything I can do for you, that's what I'm here for. All right. So I'm gonna go to some random facts, right? Because those are always the best things.
Okay.
All right. Most
Okay.
embarrassing moment. What you got?
Oh no, no, no. No, no. Next, pass.
Okay, okay. I'll let that one pass.
That's more like conversation for like, in a bar with beverages when no one's recording.
Fair enough. So we'll stick to the fiber world for a little bit more. So
Yeah.
what's your favorite fiber memory?
Um, Knitting, well, my mom passed away in 2008. She was diagnosed in July of 2008 with colon cancer and passed away in October.
I'm sorry.
I spent a lot of time when I first found out about the diagnosis, spinning. It allowed me to do something without doing anything, but my brain could still process while my body was engaged in something else. Um, I think I sat for about 8 hours straight, just spinning.
Yeah.
Um, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital at her bedside. I did a lot of knitting. And actually, after she passed, I didn't knit for about 3 years
Wow.
because I knit so much. It just had kind of a negative connotation right afterwards. Um, but the two of those kept me sane.
Absolutely.
My friends in my knitting group, I could go to knitting and just be there and knit, and they knew what was going on. And if I wanted to talk, I could. And if I didn't want to talk about it, they didn't force it.
Yeah.
So probably the strongest memory is
Mhm.
just having that be there for me, having those friends around me. It was very cathartic and very healing.
Absolutely. Thank you. So what got you to pick up the needles again?
I don't know that it was anything specific. I think it was just kind of my brain went, okay, it's time again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of as simple as that. It was just like, okay, it's time to start knitting again. I probably walked into my craft room and saw all the yarn and went, I really need to do something with this.
Yeah.
It's probably more accurate, but I don't know. There wasn't any one thing that was like, oh, this thing happened and now I have to knit again.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So tell us one thing that people would be surprised to know about you.
I think generally people who don't know me would be surprised to know that I used to be a beekeeper.
I love that.
People who know me know about it because I talk about it. But
I
yeah,
think
people
that's
who
so
don't know
cool.
me, I was a beekeeper for 8 years.
Mhm.
We lived on 7 acres. We had a farm. We had a little homestead. We had chickens and turkeys and ducks, and we had a cow named T-Bone who went to freezer camp.
Oh no.
And we had so after I started spinning, I ended up getting 2 sheep. It's fine. Yeah,
Love it.
I had 2 Shetland sheep. One was gray and one was black.
No.
Yeah, they were very sweet. And I had goats, not fiber goats, but milk goats.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was a farm girl.
Love
Sort
that.
of.
Okay, so where are the bees now?
Um, when I moved into the city, after I split from my ex, um, I was going to keep keep them, and but my lot is small. It's a small Tacoma City lot. Um, there's kids on both sides of me,
Yeah.
and while I know that it's generally not a problem. Like bees don't like go after people the way yellow jackets do
Yeah.
generally. Every once in a while you get a bad hive, but that's a whole other discussion. um, Generally, as long as you leave the bees alone, they'll leave you alone. But I just didn't want to be that crazy white lady who just moved into the neighborhood.
Oh gosh. Okay. Fair enough.
so so I had a friend, beekeeping friend, who he came and he took my hives, and it's like, if you change your mind, let me know. And but it was the right thing to do. And the following winter after I moved, uh, I contracted COVID, ended up in the hospital, health issues, and it's like if I had kept them, I wouldn't have been able to care for them the way they need.
Yeah,
So it was fortuitous that I had gotten rid of them.
absolutely.
So, and if I want to go play with bees, I can always go down to the club apiary and play, but yeah, it's fine.
And I think I saw, well, I know. Tell
Yes.
us about your tattoo.
This
Mm-hmm.
is my bee
Mm-hmm. I
there.
love
And
it.
there's another one up here. And it has a peace rose, which was my dad's favorite flower, and a hydrangea, which is one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Um, I have quite a few tattoos.
Ooh, tell us more. You
I
have a
have some
lot of beautiful.
anime.
Yes.
Here, this is Totoro.
Yes.
And I have Godzilla. Hard to see him. There's
Yes.
Godzilla. He's upside down.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Tell us about those other ones.
um,
The sprites down there.
well, the sit sprites. Okay, so that's myself and my kids. We decided to. Oh, and they were in. My daughter lives in LA, but she came up for the holidays, and we decided to get family tattoos. So they represent myself, my son, and my daughter, and we all three got basically the same tattoo, but they're slightly different, but all the same 3 little sit sprites on them.
Love that.
So we have a family tattoo.
Oh, that's
And we
amazing.
weren't sure that my son would actually go through it. That he's on the spectrum, um, and he was a little indecisive. And we're like, hey, you do not have to do this. You are welcome to if you would like to. Carter and I are going to get them, but you don't have to. But you can come with us. He's like, well, I think I want one. I'm like, okay. And we told him, like, when we started, and our tattoo artist who we love, her name is Halo, and she's in Tacoma. All of us were like, hey, if at any time you want to stop, we'll
Mhm.
stop. Just let us know. He powered through. He did well. And afterwards, I was like, okay, so how was it? He's like, well, it kind of hurt. And I'm like, so you're never going to get one again? He's like, well, maybe not for a little while. So, so
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Good. Oh, goodness. I love this. So, Ginger, tell us who Ginger was when she was a kid.
Ooh. Um, I was the girl who had ADHD before there was ADHD, and that was a thing because I was a kid, in elementary school in the 70s and 80s.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
I was kind of that weird kid who did very well in school, tested very well.
Mhm.
I went outside and played, and like I had neighborhood friends, and we had a big hill in front of the house. So when it snowed, we'd go sledding, and the lights would come on, and everybody knew it was time to go home. And there's a big pack of kids in our neighborhood, which is kind of cool because I know a lot of neighborhoods aren't really like that anymore.
Yes.
So, but
Kids
yeah,
are
I
missing
had,
out.
yeah, yeah. And I was toward the younger end of
Mhm.
all the kids, which I think was a good thing and a bad thing because I got to do a lot of things because the older kids were there, so it's fine. It's like, yeah, but the older kids were getting
Yeah,
us into trouble.
absolutely. I know how that goes. So, did you grow up in the Tacoma area?
No, I grew up in Seattle in the North End. Um, Born and raised there. In the 90s, I moved down here for a job.
Mhm.
Worked over in Gig Harbor, and then moved back up to the North End to Mukilteo for a few years.
What's in Mukilteo?
Um, we could afford to buy a house there.
That's fair.
Yeah, we had a little house on a half-acre lot,
Very
and
nice.
couldn't afford anything in Seattle.
Yeah,
So yeah.
beautiful.
And then uh, so after I lost my parents, because I lost my mom and then I lost my dad shortly after that. Um, I hindsight, the whole like I was trying to run away from where I was, but my husband worked in Seattle, so we couldn't go too far.
Yeah.
But Tacoma was as far away as we could go.
Yes. Yes.
And so that was in um, the early 2010s. We moved down here, had the 7-acre lot and all that. And I've stayed down here and I love it down here.
I love it. All right. So, I'm going to open it up for questions. So if anyone has any questions for Ginger, please drop them in the chat. I'll watch the chat room to see if there's any questions. I know, right? Ooh, what are you
Jessica's like,
drinking? I know, right? What was that? Tell me about what's in your cup.
oh, it's root beer.
Zero sugar, way to be healthy, way to make good choices. Yeah.
I'm trying. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask the good stuff. Tell us about Buddy's chicken. Mm,
Buddy's chicken is the best.
yes.
Buddy's chicken is the best.
Yes.
As Jess likes to say, it's life changing. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've like taken there or taken it to, they're like, oh my God, this is the best. It's like, it is. It really is. So
All right.
uh
So tell
my
us what your
favorite
typical Buddy's order. Yeah.
oh 2 tenders, original, not spicy. Sometimes I can do the spicy, but sometimes it's just that much, just a little too spicy sometimes.
Yep. Yes.
I love them. They taste good, but just a little spicy. So, and then I get a cornbread waffle, which I used to always get the cinnamon toast crunch waffle because cinnamon toast crunch.
Right?
But then I tried the cornbread waffle and it tastes like cornbread, but not like heavy and it's a waffle. It's the best.
They're pretty good. I mean, it's life changing.
It
So
is.
when are you going back to Buddy's for those of us that want to know?
The next time we all arrange to go.
Planted.
That's fair.
All right. So I also see we have Jessica's asking, have you ever tried crocheting?
Yes.
Okay.
I made my daughter a baby blanket when I was pregnant with her.
Mhm.
So that was 25 years ago.
Okay.
Very simple. I like crochet, but I don't love it, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
Um, and all I've ever made crochet. Oh, okay, is baby blankets, and I made a bunch of like padded coat hanger covers. So
Yes.
basically, it's like single crochet in a spiral, put them on
Hmm.
the ends, and then stitch it together. I don't remember why I needed them, but it was like, oh, that's easy to do.
Absolutely. Okay.
Very random.
Oh, I love the random. That's like the best place to live. All right. So Valerie's asking, what's your favorite type of fiber besides wool?
Well, okay, I do have a favorite breed of wool fiber.
Hmm.
I really like spinning, especially. I like working with Biffle, BFL, so
Hmm.
Blueface Luster. It's like super squishy and it
Okay.
just spins up so nicely. Um, to knit with, other than wool, alpaca is lovely, especially if it's like, or a silk blend with some,
Mm,
alpaca and merino in it, which
that's
is
luscious.
super nice and drapey. I have knit with linen. I don't
Hmm.
love knitting with the linen, like 100% linen, but I
Yeah,
love the finished objects.
absolutely.
I've made a couple like hand towels,
Hmm.
and they just soften up so nicely and they wear so well.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Sam's question. It's impossible. Do you have a project you can think of that's your favorite project of all time?
I made the bee shawl
Mhm.
that was designed by shop over in Gig Harbor.
Rainy day.
Rainy Day.
Hmm.
Hmm. And I bought the kit at one of the Knit in the Parks over in Allen. I
Oh, I
bought the
love it.
kit
Hmm.
and it sat for a long time, and then I knit it up and I love it. It was a lot of fun because it's kind of a sampler. There's each section has kind of a different stitch pattern, and they're all bee related because
Because
bees
bees.
and
Yeah.
because bees. Um, and that's probably like one of my favorite projects that I've done.
Yeah.
Um, I do have another project that kind of goes against what I said about I don't knit with my hand spun. I did spin up a gradient yarn
Oh.
that and I chain plied it to keep all the colors together, and then I
Mm.
just knit up a simple uh, shawl. It's kind of one of the oblong triangles,
Hmm.
and it I love that shawl too, and I love the fact that this is my hand spun. I spun
Yes.
it, I did the thing, and here it is.
I love that. So that's a two-part. Second part of that question is, do you have a project that's a fiber art goal that you want to challenge yourself on or look forward to?
Yes, I need to knit sweaters for myself.
Yes.
I never do. I always knit them for my kids, and I think that's
Yeah.
part of the problem is I knit them for small children, and they take no time at all. And then I go, it's gonna take forever to knit one.
It won't even take
It
forever.
won't,
It
but
won't
just in
even.
my mind, I think little sweater versus not little sweater,
Just think of
and
making multiple little sweaters.
little
All it is.
sweaters.
That's all it is. It's just
Yeah. Oh, I know.
little sweaters.
I know. But it's just also like, I no, I do. And I also want to make like a steeked colorwork sweater.
Ooh,
That's another one I want to do. I have a bunch of yarn for that.
yes.
Um, and it's waiting for me to find the right pattern.
Yes.
It's aging right now, so it
Okay.
gets to the right age to be used.
Absolutely. I love that. Needs good aging for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. Yarn requires aging.
Absolutely. All right. Cynthia's asking, do you make socks for your kids?
No.
Ah,
Um,
what?
I'm a selfish knitter, and I'm okay with that. I knit for me.
Yes.
Very rarely I will knit for other people. Like I've made a couple hats for friends that
Mhm.
requested it. I have made when my kids were little, I would make them socks out of like, acrylic blend, like a,
Yeah.
and they were fast and quick and like because they decay or worsen weight, and so it would. But as they got older, number one, my daughter, she can knit her own damn socks.
There you go. Yeah.
And my son, like, he liked that I knit them for him, but it was kind of like, oh, thanks, mom, and
Yeah.
then like on with his life. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, I knit a couple pairs for my ex who like requested them, like,
Mhm.
oh, I want you to knit me socks. And then I found them under the bed and I was like, never knitting for you again.
Yes, that's the
If you can't
worst.
take care of the hand knits, you don't get more. You
Yep.
can keep the ones I've done, but you don't get any more.
Yep.
You are
Absolutely.
not knit worthy.
Yes. Oh, knit-worthy people. Let me tell you.
They are or they're not.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Sarah's asking, what are you most proud of, fiber related or otherwise?
Um, ooh, so fiber related, probably the shawl that I did I spun it,
Yeah.
chain plied it, planned it out and then knit it. That's
Yeah.
probably my biggest like fiber thing. Non-fiber related is I left an almost 30-year marriage.
Yes.
I said I can't do this anymore, and I walked away, and that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done
Yeah.
and the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Good for you. That's awesome. Okay.
And I had to get a real job
Oh,
and all those things
those jobs were the worst.
are.
Okay, Jessica is asking, how often do you use the same sock pattern versus switching it up?
um 75% of the time I don't use a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I just cast on the number of stitches I know I need.
Yep.
And the yarn speaks to me. Uh, Sometimes I do ribbing, sometimes I do like a picot cuff,
Yep.
sometimes, and occasionally I will pick a pattern.
Mhm.
But most of the time I don't have a pattern. I knit a pair of cabled socks. They have baby cables,
Okay,
and I just kind of made those up on the fly. Um,
nice.
so because my sock knitting is meant to be portable, it's meant
Mhm.
to be something I can pick up and put down. So for the most part, I don't do anything super fancy. I
Absolutely.
always have a very plain pair of socks, a simple rib or no ribbing, just a simple plain sock.
Okay. All right, so we have a pause in questions. So let's talk about the giveaway items. So we've got a giveaway, and Ginger's going to show us what we have. Oh,
My new
look
cute
how
little
cute
sheepies.
they are.
So
Yes.
this is just the little, and it has a little knit pattern on the inside.
Yes.
And that's the Altoid size tin
Mhm.
with an insert,
Oh, nice.
insert two,
Mhm.
and then the small
Oh,
rectangle little with the little hearts on it.
super cute.
Because I love
Love
you
it.
all.
Oh, that's the best. All right. So the first person who can put Ginger's buddy order in the chat wins the giveaway. Ooh, I love it. All right. So we've
All
got
right.
cornbread waffle. Are we right?
Yes, we are
Heck
right.
yes. Congratulations, Jessica. I love that.
Hey.
So after this, we'll get your information so Ginger can get that to you. So Ginger, it's 6:50. We're getting close to the end, but I want to make sure people know where to find you and where to find your product.
I am on Facebook and Instagram because everybody is. I have an account on Blue Sky. I haven't put a ton on there yet.
Yeah.
Simply because it ends up being another thing. And sometimes it falls to the wayside. I do have a website, it's gingersnappedcrafts.com. And it
Ooh,
has it has links to all my socials. It also I put on there where I will be next for markets. I do not have an online shop at this time, but if anybody sees something and goes, "Hey, I want that," we'll make it happen.
beautiful. Okay. So what shows do you have upcoming?
Pearlside this weekend over in Hermiston, Oregon.
Ooh,
After that in March 7th and 8th, 8th and 9th, that weekend, I'm doing the Ballard Brewery Hop, and there's I think 6 or 7 different breweries in Ballard and Seattle that will have makers at them. Junie and Sai is going to be at one of them, which
nice.
she saw me post. She's like, "I'm going to be there too."
Oh, I love that. Okay.
And then that's on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday I'll be at Seattle Cider for the same type of thing. It's a makers
Very
market.
nice. Okay.
Um,
So we can put like our lids and caps in our tins too. Yes. Oh, are you gonna have cider themed tins?
uh, yes, of
Yes.
course. I do have the beer one that's already made up. The cider one, I'm trying to decide.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The beer one is where is it? No, I have it right here. No, I don't have it right here. Anyway, but it's a beer bottle and it has like all the different types of beer, like in
Very
words.
cool.
It's kind of cute.
Okay. So would you say that you do limited edition tins?
Um, I will make up, I call them specialty as opposed to
Yeah.
limited edition because for me, limited edition means I'm only going to make it for this event.
Yes.
If it applies to another event, I may change it up.
Okay.
But I will do. So I did the Krampus market in December. I had Krampus tins.
Mhm.
And hopefully I'll do that one again next year because that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
That one, if you've never been to the Bremerton Krampus Fest, it is worth the drive. It is like 2 or 3 city blocks of vendors. There's bands, there's all people dressed up as Krampus wandering around, male and female Krampus, all
Okay.
different, from more whimsical to more scary. It was so much fun. There's like a big fireworks show, worth going for sure if you have never been.
Is that in
Um,
December?
It is. It's just usually the weekend around the 6th
Okay.
because that's Krampusnacht. So
Ah, very nice.
yeah.
Okay.
So whenever I do an event, I try to have something specific to that event.
Mhm.
If there's a theme.
Right.
So
Very nice. Do you have any show goals or what do you have upcoming in the pipeline that we need to keep a lookout for?
right now my goal is to get in to fiber fusion.
Yes, you got this. I
I
feel good about
want to
it
do
for you.
fiber fusion so
Yes.
badly.
Yes.
And for me, that feels like the pinnacle. Like some
Yes.
people would say flock. So no, I want to do fiber fusion.
Yes.
Because I used to go to fiber fusion like when it was in the old building, and
Mhm.
so
Love that. Okay. We're all crossing our fingers for you, wishing you
thank
good
you.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Anything else that we need to know about you and Ginger Snapped Crafts?
No, I just am. I am. It is, and I am what it appears to be. It's like it's not anything cryptic or I'm not trying to hide anything. It's like I am who I am, and this is my product, and here you go. I'm not going to try and put on a persona for it. Even though, yes, you have to be good when you're selling your business. But at the same time, it's like, but this is who I am. I'm
Yes.
irreverent and sarcastic, and that's not going to change.
Love that. And I love that you stick true to who you are through your branding and your product. That's amazing. Ginger, thank you so much for being our first Meet the Maker guest. It's been wonderful spending time with you and getting to know more about you. We're all going to keep an eye out for your products. Your tins are amazing. I love them. I think I'm your biggest fan. I tell everybody about you. I've got them everywhere. I use them for my stitch markers. I use them for my contacts. I use them for everything. So
I
amazing
appreciate
work.
that.
Yes, keep doing the wonderful things that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, I am going to figure out the Zoom thing here. I am going to stop recording and unmute everyone and transition to the meetup.
Yay.
Right? Okay.